Oh, Monday night, ladies and gentlemen, get used to this. It's Cageside Live, first ever episode of Cageside Live, ladies and gentlemen. The world premiere. You are here for it. Mr. Drake Riggs already putting his stamp in the comment section with the first. What's up, boy? This is obviously the very first episode of Cageside Live. Myself, Eddie Law. That's Chris Prodzik. Prodzik, is that right?
Nailed it.
I'm gonna screw up Alex's name. So Alex, say your own name.
Behunin.
I gotta write that shit down. And of course, Mr. Timothy Miller. Boys, it's the very first one. We've been talking about doing this for a minute now. Took a while to get going. We stay busy, and what are you gonna do? But kicking off right away. UFC 273 this last weekend. 2 title fights and what do they call it? The people's main event with one of the scariest dudes in the division against one of the guys with the biggest heart in the division as well. But as I put up the results here for you guys to see how this ends up looking on the screen. Oh, perfect. Started here with Chris. Chris, your thoughts on? Actually, no. You know what? Give me this. Your favorite prelim on the card.
Favorite prelim on the card. Goodness gracious. Let me look at the whole card again 1 second. Let me pull it back up.
I'll go with mine. I actually enjoyed the in a way, I enjoyed I enjoyed the hell out of the Alexei Olenek submission, right? I mean, what do they call it? The Scarfold choke. That was beautifully done. But my favorite part about it wasn't actually the fight itself. It was after the fight. I don't know if you guys saw the footage afterwards in the back. Jarrett asking Olenek how to do the Ezekiel choke. That was super dope to me. It's one of the best things to see in my opinion, in combat sports is opponents put that aside and be like, "Hey, man, can you show me how to do this?" You know, because how many guys we seen Olenek do that? I honestly, every time I see Olenek fight, I want him to finish it by Ezekiel. So that honestly to me was the best part. But yeah, let's go with what's up, Chris?
Yeah, so going back to Mike Malott, I loved that fight. I thought it was great. I mean, Mckee Gall looked good in the beginning. Malott just ended up, an outstanding finish. And I liked even how he was going to give up his purse for, what he was passionate about. Dana came out and said, "Hey, keep your money. I'm going to donate towards." I went and looked at it. Last time I checked, when he first did it, it was at like $50,000. And last time I checked, it was over $100,000, the GoFundMe. So I don't know. That was probably yesterday morning. So it's probably even higher than that. I think Jake Paul actually donated 20 or 10,000 on it to it too.
He matched it. And I, honestly, say whatever you want about Jake Paul, me included. But say whatever you want about Jake Paul, man. That dude has done some solid stuff here. What about you, Alex? What's your favorite prelim?
Firstly, bro, that intro you made, woo!
I appreciate it.
It was fire.
Dude, god damn. So, all right. First, I have to give props to Raquel Bennington versus Aspen Ladd because before that fight, I was like, I'm not looking forward to recapping this fight.
Yeah, I remember.
I was talking shit in the chat, but those girls fought, man. Those girls, Raquel's boxing was good, and it was a really good fight. And I say that as like someone who's like, I don't really like watching Raquel Pennington fight for some reason, just because her style, right? Like she's a lot, she puts her opponents against the cage, and dude, she was swinging. So that fight was great. My favorite one was Fluffy versus Josh Fremd.
Yeah.
Just because, man, it was fun. And Fluffy showed his fucking wrestling, bro. He is a tank. And there was so much to break down in that because one, it was Josh Fremd's UFC debut, right? So like you have to check out the jitters. Do the lights get to him? He was game, and Fluffy was coming off a long layoff, and he looked fantastic. So that's mine.
That was beautiful. What about you, Timothy?
Yeah, no, I think I got to take a note out of your book there, man. I mean, Alessio Oleinik versus Vandera, man. I mean, it was really strange, you know, watching it at the beginning. It's like Vandera, okay, you're about to submit Alessio Oleinik. Like, that's what's about to happen. I was sitting there screaming, like, okay, this is what's going to happen right now. And, you know, he turns around and ends up submitting him. It was absolutely insane to me, man. It's one of the best, you know, especially in the early prelims, one of the best fights I've watched in a while. And I will go back, you know, I thought Aspen Ladd, you know, especially coming off her last fight, you know, she did what we wanted her to do in the last fight. She pushed forward. She was a dog in there against Rocky. You know, I really love the whole thing, you know, you know, close fight. But yeah, Alexi, I love seeing Oleinik get the win. Him and Damian Maia, one of my favorite, just old school, old dog grapplers. I love seeing that.
No, yeah, that was beautiful. And then Jared took his back. I'm like, man, you better have watched that Gordon Ryan instruction on back takes, bro, because you are not keeping Alexi's back for longer than a minute. And, you know, like I said, Oleinik's jiu-jitsu is just ridiculous. And heavyweight, you know, I would say presently, I mean, I don't know if you guys agree, best jiu-jitsu at the heavyweight division at least.
Oh, for sure.
You know, I mean, respect to Frank Mir. I'm not gonna say best all time because Frank had some, you know, legit jiu-jitsu, but I would not mind watching both of those guys in a jiu-jitsu tournament. I'm always the guy that says, "Oh, dude, fuck it, stop fighting, go do jiu-jitsu tournaments." Oleinik versus Frank. Yeah, wow, am I saying the wrong name?
Frank Mir.
Wait, Frank Mir. Jesus Christ, dude.
You're on it, bro. You're good.
Hey, don't forget, folks. We're live on a Monday. This is water, I swear.
I can't say the same thing.
He can't. Yeah. All right, Mr. Drake Riggs saying, "What a friendly answer, Alex. I'm not surprised." Yeah. Definitely an Alex answer. Okay. All right. So I guess, and that was weird that fight was in the early prelims as well. Other fights on the card, Julio Arce get a decision over Daniel Santos. That was solid. This one bothered me after the fact. First of all, Kay Hansen, you know, missed weight. That was, you know, it is what it is. She gave up, you know, part of the person. There was rumors before the fight or before the card even, you know, kicked off that the fight would be canceled. I don't know who the hell was putting that out, but Rodriguez's game, she took the fight anyway. Came in, got the W, but on social media right after, everybody going after Kay Hansen saying, "Well, if you didn't have, you know, an OnlyFans, you'd have done better." Those are the same people that say like fighters should get paid more. What's the argument here? What are we doing? You know what I mean? Like Alex, I know you saw that. What did you think of that kind of reaction from the fans? That to me is like uncalled for, really.
Yeah, it's annoying, and like she doesn't do anything to like get like it's unneeded. Really, it's unneeded criticism. Especially because like I think it was somebody she replied to somebody, but like her OnlyFans money lets her be a full-time fighter, right? So like a lot of these MMA fighters are not full-time fighters, right? So it's like, and to be successful in the UFC, you have to be a full-time fighter. I'm sorry, you do. It's just these dudes, these women, these dudes are in there to take you out.
100%. No, yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's just one of those things where if you don't have the ability to train full time, you're gonna have issues, man. Real quick on some comments here before we continue. The random bloke 849. Hey buds, big fan of the show, and I'm super pumped with this debut. Appreciate you. My children are a big fan of Alex and his work. Can they come in the panel for 5 minutes? One of these days for sure. Happy birthday to Chloe. Dude, that's pretty good.
Happy birthday, Chloe.
Happy birthday. Albert with Mike Mello. Yeah, big. A lot of people from fans of Mike Mello there. All right, moving on here. We'll get to more of the comments here in a second. What's up?
I would like to say, for Kay, it's I just got done talking to O'Day Osborne just a little bit ago. Kay she's so well rounded in every aspect of her game. It just seems like in her fights that she's never able to quite pull the trigger in one way. Whether it be her striking, whether it be her grappling, and it's really become a problem over time. Like I don't think there's any problems in her game necessarily. It's just she doesn't. Like I said, she can't pull the trigger in one direction when she's fighting. And I think, she doesn't get knocked out. She doesn't get submitted. It just comes to the end of the fight, where she gets edged out. And that's something I hope to see from her, because now we're looking at 7-6. Hopefully, for her, she doesn't get cut, if that is a problem. But
yeah, and she's 22 years old, right? So she has a lot of time to hone her skills. I really hope I was talking with somebody, and I hope she kind of maybe goes to another team because something's not working. Although she did beat Corey McKenna. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. And I think the UFC agrees with that. So I would not be surprised if the UFC gives her a one fight contract just to make up with that. And like this is like a do or die, right? Because that was the last fight on her contract. So it's really up in the air for her.
Right, 3 in a row. You never know. All right, another fight. This guy came with a lot of hype. A lot of people were talking about they better show the entrance here. Ian Gary gets a decision win over Darian Weeks. Chris, you got to talk to Ian a couple weeks ago. I want to say 2-3 weeks ago. Going off of that and then watching the fight, what did you feel about his performance?
So I thought his performance was about what I was expecting. I knew Darian Weeks was a tough opponent. I mean, obviously, when Ian was talking to me, he's going in to kill the guy. He wants first round knockout, and almost any fighter you talk to, they want to win dominantly, and they're going to say that, and they believe that. If you don't have that mindset, you're probably not going to win most of your fights. But I think he realized, he fought smart. He had to fight the way he did to get Weeks. Weeks had a tough chin. He got caught with some big shots. Weeks, that is. I thought Gary fought really well, though. I thought he did a great job. He didn't get the finish. Like, I think everyone was looking at the odds and saying, oh, it needs to be a first round finish or it's a bust for Ian. I didn't take that away. I think he's getting more cage time. And, I thought he was pretty accurate with his striking. I think watching him, training over at Sanford starting to pay off. And I think we're going to keep seeing a better and better guy. Again, I think he's 22 or 23. He's still really young too. That's my take on it.
What I like about him is that he's smart, right? Like I said, in your interview, he laid it all out. He keeps his team real close, right, intact. He was saying his wife's not his manager, but she helps and all that. He manages his own thing, makes his own deals. I mean, he schedules his own interviews. Like, he does everything himself. Like, the kid's got a plan, right? He just he needs to connect the fighting with the plan and everything. He'll be all right.
Yeah, and that's what I like about him too. I mean, he doesn't do anything he doesn't want to do.
Exactly.
So he doesn't have anyone telling him anything, and he's just genuinely a really good human from any interaction I've had with him. One of the individuals in the chat, Albert, his son, I set up a little interview with him. They did an interview. He sat down, did a 15-minute interview with his son. I think his son's 9 or 10. I can't remember. It could be way off on that. Sorry, Albert. But just to see a fighter do that the morning of your fight, just to, show some love to that kid, that's awesome. You don't see many fighters doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, Ian definitely comes off as like a legit dude. Timothy, coming off here with Ian, I wouldn't say he's definitely not copying Connor, because he's not pulling the Connor thing with the shit talk and everything like that. But the confidence is definitely there, right? And he's using the same similar lines, like we're not here to take part, we're here to take over and all that. What is your thoughts on Ian and maybe the kind of support he gets from Ireland? Because I didn't obviously we weren't at the event, but it didn't seem like he got a huge ovation this time around.
I think he's moving in the right direction, man. I mean, especially right now in like the modern UFC, you want that pop. You want that pop off your shit talking and everything like that. I mean, maybe I think the big thing with Connor is, he would talk his crap and then he'd come in there and he'd knock a guy out. You look at Jose and stuff like that. He would just come in there, one punch, bam. I think the biggest thing I take away from Ian in this fight is that, he kind of went in his bag. He went down and dirty, and he, used cage control and did it right. and edged out the fight. That's what's important for me. I mean, as far as maybe he didn't get the biggest crowd pop, I think a lot of guys in Jacksonville this weekend didn't get the pop they probably deserved. I mean, so a lot of people talking about that crowd was, a little crappy. So I think Ian's on the right direction. What can you say, man? I mean, he won the fight. He didn't look bad. He went in there against a guy like Weeks and played to his strengths, outstruck him. More significant strikes. I mean, it's Ian. He's not Connor, but he's playing to his game, man. And we'll see what happens. And not everybody can be Patty. Not everybody can be Conor McGregor. But he's 9-0, and that's what matters.
Yeah, and the thing is, like I said, I'm seeing a lot of stuff. And Alex, I don't know if you're seeing this stuff, but I'm seeing a lot of people going in like, oh, he's not that good. He's trash. Like I saw people trashing the dude for not knocking the hell out of Darian Weeks without remembering that Darian Weeks is a bad dude, right? He's a bad dude. What did you think of that reaction from the fans?
Yeah, Darian Weeks is a really good fighter, and it was a tough matchup for Ian Gary. And I think it's awesome that we saw Ian Gary go 15 minutes, right? Like, especially in the UFC, like not everyone has to be a knockout artist like Conor McGregor. You know what I'm saying? Like Conor McGregor is Conor McGregor. Let Ian Gary be Ian Gary. And yeah, I mean, it was a good performance. It was a safe performance. And like he's been at Stanford for 2 fights. That dude's just going to keep getting better and better and better. I'm not completely sold on him yet. Although I would love to see him fight Matt Semelsberger. I talked to Matt. Matt wants that fight.
Oh yeah.
And it would be it'd be a big step up for Ian Gary. And I mean, cook it.
Yeah, make it happen. A couple comments here. Thanks to the boys 11 and Ian is super nice. Hamza and Ian both can take a lot from these fights, 100%. And the crowd sucked, to be honest. Horrible fans. Too many casuals and too much booze. Yeah, look, I'm not one to talk about Florida because I never been there. However, whenever you see a headline that's really weird, it's a Florida headline. So take from that what you will. All right, moving on to the main card. First fight on the main card, Marco Madsen pulls the decision win over Vince Pichel. And I know, Alex, you talked to Vince. By the way, one of the more entertaining interviews. I've never seen Alex have to fight so hard to keep a straight face before. Okay, and Vince is yelling at somebody. Like, if you haven't seen it, Cageside Press on YouTube, just after the show, go and look it up. It's on there. It's hilarious. And just once you see Vince lose his shit, just look at Alex. All right, he fought hard. All right, so Alex, what did you think of the performance? Vince was pissed. He was angry as hell. Like, he gave him his props to the fight, but he started, afterwards he was like, I think he walked past the media row. He called him a pussy, something like that. What did you think of the whole fight?
Wasn't the best fight. I think like Mike Malott versus Mickey Gall could have probably opened up the card, maybe, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, whatever. Hindsight's 2020. It's just Vince sold the fight to a lot of people, right? Like he said he was going to go in there and punch this guy's lights out, and he just didn't do it, obviously. And he wrestled the wrestler, and if you do that with an Olympic wrestler, I mean, look what's going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best fight. I'm not very impressed with Marco Madsen throughout his, I think it's 4 fights now. I don't know. I'm not super impressed with Marco Madsen, and I'll talk about that. He's 36 years old, so I don't know how high the ceiling is. But if he wants to make a run for that title, then he better do it quick.
We was talking about moving to over here to Scottsdale to train and fight ready with Henry Cejudo. So at 36, it's go time. You got to go now if you want a title shot at that one. Chris, what is your opinion on fights that go like this? Like, quite obviously, one guy's looking for more action. One guy, I mean, we knew when the fight was announced. Okay, Marco Madsen's gonna wrestle on the shit. He's an Olympic wrestler. Sure. I forgot what medal he earned in the games, but like we knew what was going to happen. Vince should have known what was going to happen. What do you think of that whole thing? Because a lot of people, were booing after the fight, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing, but at the same time, if you put yourself in there, right, and you're Mark Madsen, you're not going to stand there and trade with Vince, right. he wasn't lying in those interviews. He was going to punch a hole through his face. He's a crazy, crazy fighter. He's very, very skilled. You have to use your technique, to your advantage. I know a lot of people who will watch the Olynyk fight, for instance, and say that was boring because he just took him to the ground, and you know what I mean. There was no one got knocked out. He just took him down and hugged him and choked him out. And to me, I thought that was an amazing fight. I mean, this is a little bit different, right? It was a lot more wrestling. He very, very technical, played it very safe, kept his undefeated record intact. I see it both lenses. From the fan part of me, I wanted to see, a little bit more slugging, but from Mark's perspective, he fought the fight he had to fight to get the W.
And that's what it's about, winning. You got to win, but bottom line, right? All right, moving on to the next fight. Mackenzie Dern pulls up decision win over Tisha Torres, and may or may not have surprised the holy hell out of a lot of people, but especially Tisha Torres, who before the fight was talking about, I have better stand up. Mackenzie Dern has a hard time with stand up. Well, Mackenzie Dern tried to take her freaking head off, a few times. You spoke to Mackenzie before the fight. What'd you think of the performance?
Yeah, actually, I talked to both of them before the fight. So,
yeah, that's right.
I thought Mackenzie would be a little more reserved, to be honest with you. She came out swinging. I knew she was gonna. I thought she was gonna do a lot more submission takes, but she was throwing heat. Like, she was a little wild, and I think that's going to come with more experience. And she said it herself. She wants another fight or two, before she even gets into a championship. But I mean, I didn't expect her to come out that striker heavy. In the second round, when she was just throwing all those attacks on the ground like that, that's what I was expecting in round 1, 2, 3, however long it needed to go. But I think she showed that she can stand with, some of the more durable women. And I mean, to Tisha's advantage, she stayed intact without getting finished. A lot of those submissions were deep. She was working, and Mackenzie's not a joke. I mean, she's one of the best in the world at jiu-jitsu. So, yeah, I think that's what shocked me was just her aggressiveness in the stand-up.
Yeah, it was super, super aggressive. Real quick, Drake goes, Florida was never my friend. All right, Drake. I wish I had a drummer. Albert says, Jordan striking impressed me for sure. If you think about it, that's all she was probably working on. The jiu-jitsu is already there. 100%. Yeah. I mean, Timothy, she almost had that Kimura. Like that. I thought we were going to see, maybe I want to say the night before, maybe the night after, I can't remember. We saw video. I think someone in Combate got their arm broken on I want to say it was Kimura. So I thought we were about to see another one. And, Tisha Torres just showed her incredible toughness and great in the ability to be able to defend it.
Yeah, no, as far that Combate fucking Kimura, man. I'm telling, excuse my language, but that Combate Kimura, man. Oh, yeah. I was screaming in my room when I watched it. You hear that snap? It's just like, oh Lord. But I mean, as far as this fight goes, man, I mean, I see a lot of people really upset, that it leaned towards Dern over Torres. I think it was a great fight, man. Yeah, and I really like, Dern came out there. She was trying to take her head off, man. Like she realized that she's the BJJ person coming in there. She wants to raise her stock, come in there, throw her combos and try and show that she's just as good on the feet as she is on the ground. But it's one of those things, man. This is one of those fights where people will call a robbery. I know it came to a split, but Dern, I mean, she showed how good she was that night, man. I really do. I know there's some I'm looking at it now, 58 to 78 total strikes. That is what it is. But Dern fought a hell of a fight, man. And Torres, Dern just edged it out, man. That's all it is. And I really enjoyed it. I mean, especially Dern in third round. I thought it was a really great fight and a great fight from Dern.
Yeah, no, and on the arm snapping thing, dude, I've seen so many of those videos, so I'm kind of desensitized. The first time I saw that happen at a tournament I was competing in, I swear that will screw your head up. I forgot my whole game for the rest of that tournament. So I clearly got beat the next round. That's all I was thinking about was not getting my arm snapped. That shit's terrible.
The crazy thing is how she snapped her arm and she just didn't react.
Right.
Like it just snapped. She came up and hugged her and she just got her arm laid out there like that. And she's like, okay, yeah. Shows how tough some of these women in MMA are, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I'd say, no. Jeez, that's insanity. All right. Next fight up. The fight we were all waiting for. Hamza Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns. Would Chimaev show that he's this phenom. We've been sold this, bill of goods that he's a phenom. He's the next big thing. He's insane. He's knocking everybody out. Could he take out a seasoned vet, former title challenger Gilbert Burns, the same way he took out everybody else that was unranked? Finally got the number. First of all, the fact that he got the number 2 guy to accept the fight, crazy. But Alex, this thing went all 3 rounds, and it was back and forth. Hamza got dropped, Burns got dropped. It was threatening left and right. It was an insane fight. To me, it's gonna be fight of the year. I can't think of any. I can't think of anybody else that could top it. But obviously, we're early in the year. But what did you think of the fight? And did this make Hamza, like, I guess, did his stock rise to you from this?
Yeah, man. I mean, it was an awesome fight. It showed that he was human. And that's the number one thing. I hate it. I hate that Gilbert Burns was so disrespected. That was my narrative I was trying to push all week. Like, dude, like, he's been disrespected his last 2 fights against Wonder Boy and Chimaev. People literally thought Chimaev was going to go in there, sleep this dude, and then fight Uzman. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like really, who the fuck did Chimaev fight before Burns? Yeah, right. He beat Jingling, but other than that, come on. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah. I understand. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it was very impressive. Obviously, he didn't get touched, but he didn't get touched by cans. That's just what it is. It is what sorry. Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, I think both of their stocks rose. I would not want to be the next person who fights Gilbert Burns because he's going to come in. He's going to come in there and fuck somebody up. Yeah. But man, I think the biggest takeaway from like this is like Chimaev is human, and like I don't know what happens in that Colby fight. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a tough fight.
Yeah, people can say whatever they want. Oh, he's going to smash Colby. He's going to smash him. Whatever. First of all, Hamza ain't smashing nobody anymore ever again. There ain't gonna be no more smashing. We're not fighting, top 30 guys anymore. We're fighting top. He's not gonna get anybody outside the top 5 anymore. There's no way. At least not now, right? So he's not smashing Colby for shit. And Colby's got a gas tank and he's got wrestling. The hands, whatever you want to say about the hands and everything, but I think Colby's gonna give him a hell of a fight once they fight, if Colby can agree to it. Timothy, do you think we actually get that fight, or are we gonna get Colby going like, I'm going to go box, or maybe I'm going to go fight a lightweight instead, or whatever the hell? Do you think we get that fight?
I mean, as far as Dana says, we are getting that fight, right? I mean, if Colby bounces out of this fight, man, it does a lot, to his integrity and to his person. I mean, if Colby plays the part he's been playing for a long time, he's got to take this fight. I mean, this is like, okay, you're the number 2. A lot of people believe if Kamaru Usman didn't exist, that he would be the welterweight champion of the world. He's got to take this, man. I mean, he's got to. And if I was Colby watching that fight, I'd get a little bit more confidence.
I'm super confident.
That's the way I would feel, man. I mean, you go in there, you're talking about a guy who's got a 5-round gas tank for a mile. We saw him fight Kamaru, first fight minus a broken jaw. I mean, he was all in there. I think Colby takes this fight. I think Colby understands that there's a little bit of a legacy on the line here, that he takes the up-and-comer coming up in the welterweight division. So, yeah, absolutely, man. He's going to take this fight. Who knows what happens? I'm going to have to go into the tank and see what I really think is going to happen. Yeah. It's going to happen, man. And it's going to be another banger of a fight.
The fans are going to want it. They're going to ask for it. They're going to pull it. And if Colby is nothing else, he's a businessman. He knows that fight will draw like crazy. So real quick, one more comment here before we continue on this fight. Albert says, Hamza learned a valuable lesson, and not from the fight, but what he does during fight week. I can't disclose too much, but the distractions almost cost him that fight. It's important. I mean, look, the one person I'm super happy for is not even Hamza in this one. It's Darren Till. If Chimaev loses this fight, who's getting blamed for it? Not Hamza. Our poor old Darren Till is going to get blamed for making him worse. You know how many times I saw that shit on social media? Like, Darren Till is making him worse. Like, what are you talking about? Dude, that shit bothered me. But real quick, if let's devil's advocate, I guess. If Hamza gets through Colby, gets the title fight against Uzman, okay, we'll go one by one here. We'll start out. I'll go first, so you guys can think what you want to say. do you think Hamza is the guy to defeat Kamaru Usman? I'll go first. No. I think Kamaru Usman does a lot of studying, a lot of tape going over in Colorado, right? That whole team is like, they study tape like crazy, and they come up with, as we've seen the last few Usman fights, like nearly flawless game plans. So I think he got so much tape out of this fight that Usman's like, all right, cool. Yeah, go fight Colby for 5 rounds or 3 rounds or whatever it is. Give me some more of that tape. When you come up here, I'm going to show you what's good. So I don't think, as of right now, he's ready to take on Uzman. I think he's going to have to add tools that Uzman's not expecting, I guess, and that he hasn't shown in order to defeat the champion. But we'll go here with Chris. Uzman versus Hamza. Who you got winning?
I got Usman winning, but I think it all depends on how that Hamza and Colby fight goes. Outside of the guys Usman's already beaten, he's a new face, and I can't think of anyone who could beat Usman. So that's what it's putting into my head. Like, okay, a new challenge. What can he do? What can he do differently? But I got to go with Usman winning the fight.
Okay. What about you, Timothy?
Hey, I'm gonna be that guy, man. I think 110% Hazmat can beat Usman. I think he brings all the challenges on the feet, on the ground. I think he does everything super well. This guy, he hasn't been in the UFC very long. You give him, you have this fight. He's been humbled. He understands. Fights Colby. He beats Colby, whether it's emphatically or he edges it out, and then goes into Usman. I think he can win it. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and absolutely pick him up and talk shit to Dana at Cageside, but I'm taking Hamza. I'm taking Hamza 100%.
All right, Mr. Behunin.
If they fight tomorrow, Usman beats the shit out of him right now. Usman is on another level right now, man, and he is a problem. And I think right now, if the Chimaev that fought Gilbert Burns fights Colby, Colby beats him 100%. Also, about that Colby Hamzat fight, depending on when they fight, if this Russia thing's still going on, you absolutely know that Colby's going to make it USA versus Russia. Absolutely.
Yeah, he might even call, and I know he's a Trump guy. He might even call Joe Biden to come to the fight. Hey man, America, let's go.
Absolutely, he will sell this fight and make it a Russia versus US thing.
I will continue to play devil's advocate for Chimaev until he loses.
So my question is,
what's up?
Is there a bigger fight you can make at welterweight? Well, all right, Chimaev versus Usman or Chimaev versus Colby. What's a bigger fight?
I like Alex's storyline. At the Colby fight.
Yeah,
Colby.
I like Alex's
that sells more.
A lot. Way more. Like a lot more. Like Uzman can try and be like, it's America versus Russia, whatever. It's not. This is not, Rocky. What is it, Rocky 4? This is not Rocky 4, right?
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't lose Apollo or anything. It's not like that.
Right.
This is legit. Like the way Colby plays that up is not really like a Chael Sonnen, but like on the way there, right? Like he takes things that are actually happening and plays them up. So Alex is 100% on this shit. Like it's gonna be America versus Russia, and it's gonna be beautiful. Even though I think Chimaev's flag on all his kits is Sweden, which is whatever.
Colby will change that narrative so quick, and he will. Yeah, it'll do huge numbers on ABC.
I don't know if I'll skip the presser on that. I skip most Colby pressers. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's kind of old to me. But with a Hamza in there, the way that guy talks, I'll probably watch it. But yeah. Whatever, real quick. Albert, our insider, says it wasn't Till. There you go. As far as Hamza goes, I think Colby versus Hamza sells double what Hamza versus Uzman does. Exactly. Colby and Hamza know how to sell a fight. Imagine that build-up. Hamza doesn't even have to try. He just has to be himself and talk about smashing people and all this shit. Like that to me is, he can't say smash anymore, but he will. It is what it is. All right, so moving on to the co-main event of the evening, one of the more controversial, I guess, build-ups and first fights, and so even the second fight was controversial. Like we're never going to get away from this Peter Yan Aljamain Sterling fight. Obviously Aljamain pulls it off by split decision. A lot of people were giving. I think the judges gave. Correct me if I'm wrong. If anybody knows. I think the judges gave Aljo 1, 2, and 3, right? And then 4 and 5 to Peter or
Yes.
Piotr. Yeah. So Piotr fans are saying no, Jan won the first one, and and then 4 and 5. We'll go with that first. Alex, how did you have that one scored?
Aljo. I had Aljo winning the fight. I have not gone back to watch it, rewatch it. I need to do that just to get another eyes on it. But I did go back and look at the stats, and so everyone's argument is Jan was more aggressive, right? But that's octagon control. That's the last thing on the judging criteria. Aljamain outlanded Peter Yan in that first round. So I mean, you can fucking nitpick it all you want, but I think Aljamain got 1, 2, 3.
There you go. What about you, Timothy? What do you think on this one? Aljo, Piotr, again, it seems like no one can agree.
Yeah, and I'm kind of on the outside of what Alex said. I thought round 1, I mean, as far as you're throwing a flurry of strikes, how effective was it? I thought Jan's, because I think the only thing you can argue is round 1. I think 2, 3, 4, and 5 were very clear. I thought Jan's striking was way more effective in the first round, and like Alex said, I need to go back and watch it. Maybe my opinion changes out of the moment. But I had Jan in the first round, but it's like I mentioned with Dern and Torres, it's one of those fights I don't think you can be really upset about it. Both guys gave their heart, and the judges saw it one way.
100%. And I did go back and rewatch it. I do it all the time because when I'm live, you're live tweeting all that like I was, you miss certain things. So the next morning, I always do it. Breakfast. I'm up before the kids are anyway. So breakfast, coffee, and just rewatch everything. So I rewatched it, and I still had Aljo. Maybe a little closer than watching it live, but I still had Aljo winning it. So seeing other people getting upset about the score kind of weirded me out. Chris, who did you have on your scorecard?
Yeah, so I had it at Aljo. I haven't rewatched it yet, but I mean, in my opinion, Jan was more aggressive in the first round, but he wasn't landing. Sure, I can chase you around, be in your face, but he wasn't landing. I think if we looked at the round by round, I don't know where that's at, but I want to say Aljo outstruck him in the first round, even though he was kind of backing up the whole time. And the other thing that I'd be curious about too is, I mean, how close was that second round to being a 10-8? Aljo had him down. 3 or 4 minutes? I'm trying to remember because I didn't rewatch it. But he didn't do a lot to him, don't get me wrong, but he had that body triangle in there the majority of the round. So I mean, I had him at least winning 3 rounds. If it would have been a draw, that wouldn't have shocked me either. So I mean, I don't think it was a robbery either way, but my score would have been 48-47 for Aljo.
Yeah, and look, Aljo controlled the positions. To me, that's just as important as landing on anybody and as octagon control. If you can control the position, I mean, he was on his back, backpacked him, body triangled him, and Piotr couldn't do a damn thing about it. Nothing. He had nothing for him on those positions. So, again, super close. We're gonna get a third fight eventually, I'm sure, but it's gonna be on Piotr to improve that position.
Did he really shoot 22 times?
22 times. That was one of the arguments that everyone's throwing out there. He shot 22 times. We only got 2. And I'm saying, going fucking so? Piotr got 0. Motherfucker. And Piotr got taken down. That's the thing. I mean, a lot of people coming in saying Piotr's going to kill him. And I think, that kind of narrative kind of put people's hopes up that Piotr was going to come in and just destroy, right? And when he didn't, it's kind of like denial. Obviously, first fight, right? Aljo goes in, neck's all messed up, right? All those issues in training camp and everything. Still took the fight. Still went in there and went hard in the first round. In my opinion, probably because the neck was messed up. Went in, took an illegal knee. I guess won the belt. Unfortunately, that's the way it went. Okay, and everyone's just like, "Oh well, Aljo should have." Most fighters would be tough enough to continue, right? Continue on. He should have just kept going. Well, then this fight, everyone goes, "Well, Piotr's corners weren't there." I'm like, are we just going to keep making excuses to make ourselves feel better? Because that's what's going on.
I really would like some way to determine, what the line is for a 10-8. Sure. I feel like that's something we argue about so much as far as MMA fans and across Twitter and stuff. What constitutes a 10-8? Was that a 10-8? It's just so hard. That's one of the things. When I go back and watch it, yes, that could have been a 10-8. Is it a 10-8? I don't think it was. But it's one of those things where someone has to completely dominate in such an unruly fashion
Sure.
to actually constitute it. So that's something I really wish we could figure out with, the rules and stuff, different athletic boards, like where does that fall into play? But yeah.
And that's why everyone complains about the 10-8 system. It's just hard to figure out. There's no clear cut answer how that works. It's clearly a boxing thing, obviously. But we'll talk about comments here before we move into the main event. I haven't rewatched it, but live I thought Aljo had it. There you go. And spot on. Oh, appreciate you, man. I think he's talking about the positions thing. All right. Main event of the evening was supposed to be Volkanovski was Holloway. Holloway out with an injury, unfortunately, bumming me the hell out because I'm a Holloway fan. But then when Korean Zombie takes the fight, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, absolutely. If anyone's gonna walk through all kinds of hell to get to Alex Volkanovski, it's gonna be the Korean Zombie. Unfortunately, did not play out that way. The speed alone and the accuracy of Volkanovski, like Korean Zombie had nothing for him the entire fight. Alex, we basically watched Korean Zombie get beat up, and he's so tough, maybe a little too tough for his own good. That the fight, and again, props to Herb Dean for giving him a chance to continue and then stopping it when he clearly had nothing for him. But man, it was sad to watch, dude.
Yeah, bro, my heart was broken. I'm a Zombie fan. If you weren't kind of like rooting for Zombie a little bit,
yeah,
come on, are you really a diehard MMA fan? Man, so I mean, I was bitching all week about the odds, like just being super disrespectful. I think the odds for this one should have been like minus 7,000 or some shit. You know what I'm saying? It was bad. It was bad. Man, yeah. I mean, it's Volkanovski is so good, and the best thing is he got on that microphone and was like, "Hey, featherweight division, get good, motherfuckers, get good."
Yeah. Yeah, and Volkanovski's super confident now. After he's talking about levels, he's talking about he's basically better than everybody. He's gonna move up to lightweight. Henry Cejudo's talking about coming back to the fight. Alexander the average, which do better, Henry. You could come up with some fighting than that. But talk about fighting him and everything. Timothy with Volkanovski at 145. Hey, at 145, not lightweight, because lightweight there's no reason to talk about that yet until he actually makes the move. But at 145, who gives Volkanovski like a real challenge?
Man, and obviously my Twitter is up there as it's Yair, but from here out, I think Holloway more than likely gets the next fight. I think you do Ortega and Rodriguez, and I think that is the winner of that gets the next title fight. The best fight for Volk, Arnold Allen. I think Arnold Allen gets a little bit more time under his belt. I think for real that like as far as like lining up, grappling, striking, who's gonna do, and I'm a Yair Rodriguez fan, but like I think like there's no fluke Hail Marys. Josh Emmett, who is an absolutely amazing fighter, he's gonna be looking for that power KO. I think actually Alex mentioned today, I think on Twitter, he kind of sandbags on looking on that KO, which I absolutely agree with. He's got the power to knock Volk out, I think, but really, I think Arnold Allen has the best chance, but I think he needs another year or two under his belt, another fight or two.
He needs some work. I got Holloway, dude. Seriously, I got Holloway now. Now talking lightweight, and you and Timothy and Alex, you guys can put on this here in a second. But Chris, at lightweight with the 55, talking Dustin. You can throw Connor in there if you want to. At 155, what fight do you want to see Volkanovski take?
Oh goodness. Let me pull up some lightweight rankings.
I am not mad, and I'm not at all. Everyone, look, you see who's behind me? That's Nate Diaz. Okay, I am not a Connor fan. However, Volkanovski McGregor, I like
that.
It.
Doesn't do it for me.
Really? What do you want to see? Because I don't think he gets put into a title fight right away. I think there's a lot of work for Oliveira to do at 155.
Give him RDA.
And RDA will take that fight. That guy's a psycho.
I think that would be a very competitive fight.
That would work. What do you think, Timothy? Who you put in there at 155 against Volk?
Man, I'm just gonna be honest, man. For Volk, I mean, we can look at the lightweight rankings as much as we want. As dominant as he's been, you have to give him the champion, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You have to. And I
Mhm.
mean, him against Oliveira. I made the tweet the other day.
Yeah.
I'm 99% sure he can be a double champ. I'm like, you
Volkanovski,
put
ooh.
Volk against Charles Oliveira. I don't think it's that hot of a take. I really don't. I think this man is that
I'm with
good.
you. I'm with you. No, I'm with you on that. Especially when he survived the submissions from Ortega the way he did. That's a big. That's a big sample size.
Absolutely, man. I mean, you put him in there again. I think it's a good fight with anybody he fights, man. But you have to put him in there against a champion, and
Yeah.
I think he could beat Oliveira. I'm not saying it's going to be easy
Mhm.
or he's just going to knock him out, but I definitely see him picking up that belt possibly. So
There you go. A couple comments here before we get to Alex. Every time the boy Simon fight ready, he would walk by and say, "And you, he's such a nice guy, and we were rooting for Zombie, but Volk is that guy." Oh yeah, talking about Zombie. The best thing about the fight was Korean Zombie's walkout, and it really was. Even people were singing the hell out of that thing. I was sad too, Alex. It was rough to watch. I'm passing the ball and commenting. I'm like LeBron of comments. Sorry for being a no. You comment away. No one cares. We're good. Just send them in. I don't care. Volk is a Hudo. I don't know about that fight. Alex, who would you put in there against the Volk?
So yeah, I put out a tweet yesterday and I got some fucking fantastic matchups. I originally put Gamrot, right? I think that's a fight, but somebody went up me and said Raquel Fiziev versus Volkanovski.
Wild.
Michael Chandler versus Volkanovski, just two tanks.
That'd be wild. This want to see shit crazy. They just want to see chaos in there. Jesus.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those three. Obviously, Justin Gaethje versus anybody, literally anybody. Justin Gaethje versus my fucking clothes hanger is a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just he's yeah, dude. Yeah, bro. I just yeah.
No, I got you. Real quick. And I thought it was kind of weird. I don't speak Korean whatsoever. All right, just put it out there. But I'm not a big fan of translators. I'm fluent in Spanish, and even the Spanish translators get me like kind of like, really, dude, you didn't say everything they said. So I always think a translator leaves things out. However, apparently a lot of people on Reddit were saying that the translator for Zombie this time around left some shit out. The biggest, and obviously he said he was sad, he was upset, he was confident coming in. The line they left out is the most heartbreaking thing I've ever heard out of anybody in the UFC, or at least one of the most heartbreaking things. The quote was, "I now know I can't be UFC champion." Keep that line in your mind, and then remember the images of him crying, like all over his corners, just like losing his mind. That is some shit.
I thought
it's heartbreaking.
I started to laugh because I thought you were about to mention Joe Rogan mentioning from the table about his corner called for a front kick. And he was like, I heard it, but it was in Korean.
My first thought was like, you speak Korean, motherfucker?
I think he does. I think he understands some of it. I've seen a lot of, because he's Taekwondo, right? That's where he grew up at. So I saw a lot of guys who, and I've never trained Taekwondo, but they said you learn a lot of Korean doing that. So yeah, I started to laugh, so no one hate me because I'm sorry for TKZ. I saw those thoughts like I'll never be a UFC champion.
Yeah, no, that's rough to read, man. And translators, I know it's a hard job. All right, I get it. Alex, Gaethje versus anyone, says Albert, and then sad emoji for the.
I will say this much though. I think Volkanovski fights Max next, and I think Max beats him.
I thought he beat him the first. Was it the second fight?
I thought Max won the second fight, and I thought Volk won the first. Or maybe I have it backwards. I have him 1-1.
Okay,
I know that much.
I had Max in the first fight for sure.
Yep.
I think it was 1, 2, and 3, and then Volk had him 3, 4, and 5. That's how I had it.
Yeah,
I know I have it 1-1. I did give Volk one of the fights, and I gave Max one of the fights. I think Max beats him. From what I seen, what he did to Qatar, and what I seen him, fighting very good against Yair. But I mean, it's hard, it's MMA.
It's MMA math.
I'm gonna stay out of that. Yeah, Max beats him, is my opinion. 3 rounds to 2.
Yeah, the only thing that makes me nervous about the Max fight is that the quickness Volkanovski showed in this fight. is just lightning. So we'll see if we can keep it up in the next for the Holloway fight, the trilogy. All right, before we move on to 270, Bellator 277 this weekend out of San Jose. Our very own Gabriel Gonzalez is there, or will be there, which is why he's not here today. Alex wanted to talk about your 3 MVPs from the card. So, Alex, do you have your 3 ready to go?
Yeah. I'm gonna go Volkanovski, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna go Anthony Hernandez.
Okay.
Just for the layoff and just him showing how his wrestling is just off the chain. And you know what? I could give it to Mike Malott, but you know what? I think I'm gonna give it to Gilbert Burns as one of my MVPs, just because he proved everybody wrong, and his stock rose.
Gotcha. All right. Timothy, you got it 3?
I would say Volk, Aljo. As much as I'm gonna be honest, I was pulling for Jan.
Yeah.
I'd say Volk, Aljo, and just based on the performance, Olynyk, man. I loved it, dude. I really did. So there's my 3.
Gotcha. And Chris?
Volk, Aljo, Malott.
Perfect. And that's I had Volk, I had Olynyk, and I had Malott. Just on those are my three MVPs, the ones that I'm personally most. And I had Dern as my like 4th. Hey, we were gonna go 4. I had Dern. I've never seen her hands look that good and that aggressive. So, yeah, good for her. By the way, good for her figuring out her weight stuff. That was like perfect.
I had Tisha Torres winning that fight.
Really?
Shout out to Aspen Ladd not missing weight.
Hey, look, I joke around because she blocked me. She got mad at me about a comment I made, and even though it wasn't mean, Aspen, don't be that way, all right? But I get it, sensitive, totally okay with me.
You said that Ladd blocked you?
Ladd blocked me because she in the last fight when she missed weight, they didn't let her fight, right? Another fight in that same card was allowed to go on, even though they missed weight. And she was like, I only missed 1 pound, but the commission wouldn't let me fight, yada yada. And all I did was retweet her shit or quote tweet it. All right, I didn't even tweet it directly at her because I know how sensitive fighters are, especially when they miss weight. All I said was it's not about the pound you missed. It's about the fact that you could barely stand on the scale, about how you looked. Like, that was really bad. That's why I didn't let you fight. I must have touched a nerve or someone on her team or her coach or whatever. So, is what it is. Albert says Burns, Volk, and the Volk Constrictor. There you go. And then Aspen Ladd's a new manager and a new team. I'm not disagreeing. And I'm the president and the co-founder of the Aspen Ladders. That's what I think.
I was about to say that if that's the man I think it is, it's Steve, the young man. Yeah. He loves Aspen Ladd.
Yeah. Look, she can fight, but it's just you the first battle's the scale, then it's the fight. And
I'd really like to ask y'all a question. Do you think Rocky? I was talking to somebody. I was talking to O'Day Osborne and God, I'm blanking on his name. He just lost his Contender Series fight after winning one. Do you think Raquel Pennington is a gatekeeper for that division now that she's on a 4-fight win streak? Would you say, because they're very hard on saying she's a gatekeeper for that, but I would say that being on a 4-fight win streak, that's a little out there. And this is pro fighters saying this, that's their opinion with no, not being derogatory towards her.
Right. I'll take this one first, and then we can go to Alex. I would say if Nunes was still champion, yes. But since she's not champion, I'm gonna say no. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I'm on the same way. I think she could easily. Depending on the Holly Holm versus Caitlin Vieira fight, like the winner of that, I think Rocky could easily leapfrog them and fight Juliana Pena. They have bad blood. Sense tough. Rocky is on a 4-fight win streak, and it makes sense, right? It makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. And I'm not the biggest Rocky fan, so. But if Nunes beats Juliana Pena again, I wouldn't want to see Rocky too. You know what I'm saying? Like, she got beat up last time. I don't know. I think gatekeeper can be I'm not gonna say like offensive. You know what I'm saying? Like it can be offensive to like some fighters.
Yeah.
But like to her, I don't know, right? Like I think Caitlin Chukagian's a gatekeeper, right? Like she'll never beat Volkanovski, but like if you beat Chukagian, you should get a shot at Valentina. You know?
Yeah. There you go, Chris.
I think you kind of nailed it. I mean, if Amanda Nunes was still the champ, I mean, you're kind of in there. But with her fighting Pena, let's say Amanda Nunes gets injured, I think Rocky gets the title shot. Who else do you put against Pena right now? I mean, I guess you could make an argument for other people. We got 4 fight. Ladwithick was ranked number 3, so you put her in there. I don't know who's ranked number 2. There's Pena, Nunes. I don't know who number 2 is. Is it Holly Holm? I don't know. She gets all the title shots. That's why I always think top 3 with Holly Holm.
She always gets the main events.
She always gets herself into a title shot. But I mean, in my opinion, you know, I think she's worked her way, especially with that win. It was huge. I think she's maybe one fight away.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. We'll see.
I would like to say in their defense, they were saying, you know, gatekeeper always necessarily isn't a bad thing.
It is.
You know, that's their opinion.
Right. All right. So that's gonna do it for 273. Let's talk real quick. We got a few minutes left before we got to run. Bellator 277 this weekend. 2 title fights on the card. Looking at the prelims real quick. We're not gonna talk about too many of these. Javier Cavallo against Alphabet Soup over here. Tim Johnson against Linton Vassell. That's a bad fight, right? Like a good fight, but Terrell Fortune against Rakeem Cleveland. Michael Lombardo against Kyle Kretschmer, and Helen Gracie against Tyson Miller. Put an 0-3 guy against a 2-0 guy. All right, whatever. And Bellator. Gaston Bolanos against Isaiah Gonzalez. Theo Haig against Alan Benson. Laird Anderson against JT Donaldson. Socrates Hernet. That's a hell of a name, bro. Socrates. What did your parents do? Like this classic in college? Bro. All right. And against Rogelio Luna. Bobby Cedonio III against Caleb Ramirez. That's your prelims. Main card looks like it's just 2 fights. AJ Mckee versus Patricia Pitbull. This fight was fire the first time around. AJ Mckee put it on and won the belt. Patricia wants the belt back. Let's just do picks on this one real quick and on the other fight. Alex, who are you picking to win this one?
Man, I think AJ is going to beat.
You were at the presser today.
Yeah, I was, and you could tell like there's tension there. AJ is just like, dude, he's so cool, calm, collective, but he also has that like that confidence and like venom about him, right? Like he can say shit that like stings you, and I wish that dude was in the UFC right now because he's so talented, man, and he can talk, he looks good, he fights good, man. Like he's the whole package. I think he beats Pitbull, and I think he moves up to lightweight in the next by the end of the year and beat his brother.
Oh, can you imagine beating the brothers and taking their belts and whatnot? Timothy, your pick on this one.
Yeah, man, I'm on the same thinking, man. I think AJ Mckee, I mean, this guy is, in my opinion, probably a top 5 or a top 5 feather. Jesus Christ, top 5 featherweight.
Yeah.
In the UFC. I mean, really, the guy's great. He does it all well. Like Alex said, I mean, not to reiterate him too much, but the guy talks well, he looks well. He is like an absolute killer. That fight against Patricio, like he looks so good. And a guy like Pitbull, who is just a killer, you know, especially, you know, in Bellator. I got Mckee in this one, man. I think I'm just step out on a limb. I think he makes it look easy again.
There you go. Yeah, Chris?
I got AJ Mckee by however the hell he wants to do it. I think he's that good. I would love to see AJ Mckee fight Volkanovski. I would love to see that fight. I'm not going to pick that one, but this one, I think he's going to do whatever he wants. I think he's that good. I've been saying it for a while. I think AJ Mckee might be the best person to ever come out of Bellator.
Oh, he might end up being that way. You never know. Got a couple more, you know, he's got like a tiny bit of more work to do, but you might be right. And of course, the UFC doesn't take anybody that's just a regular from Bellator. Really, you got to be a champion and for a while at Bellator to come over to the UFC. So, but I'm with you. I would love to see AJ in the UFC. That AJ versus Volkanovski or basically anybody at 45 would be dope. All right. And then the other fight, I got to see both these men in action in Phoenix. Separate events, but went down. Vadim Nemkov, current light heavyweight champion, against Corey Anderson. Anderson knocking out the guy that Vadim beat for the belt. Both guys beat Bader. Both guys can crack. Both guys can wrestle. This is a tough fight. A lot of people are having a hard time picking it. I am too. But I'm gonna go. And for the other one, by the way, I'm going to Angel Mckee. I forgot to say that. But on this one, I'll go first. Little backstory on it. Well, no, little side story. In Phoenix for the last Bellator, and getting there a little early for open workouts, I got to hang out and shoot hoops with Fedor and his team. All right, that
brag more, bro.
Was
I said brag more. I was just
I'm telling you, it was the dopest shit ever. All right, I passed him the ball and I was like, I'm done. I can leave now. We're good. Like, I can never come back here again. And I'd be totally fine. The GOAT was in front of me shooting hoops, and he can't shoot for shit, but he was still shooting hoops. All right. On this fight, this is the Grand Prix, which, by the way, I'm a big fan of Bellator doing Grand Prix. This is just dope. They got the Bantamweight Grand Prix coming up. Unfortunately, we lost a couple guys out of that one, but this is what happens in the sport. Let's go with Chris first. Picking this one, who you taking?
I'm gonna go Corey Anderson. I think he's gonna get it done.
Do you think maybe because they're both good wrestlers that it ends up being just like a slugfest?
No, I think it's going to be very technical. I think it's going to be a boring fight. I do. I'm sorry. I feel that way, but I think it's going to be very technical. I think it's going to be 2-2 apiece. I'm going to enjoy the fight, right? So the majority of the crowd's going to think it's boring, though, because I think there's going to be a lot of wrestling involved. I think there's going to be a lot of technical exchanges, and I think it's going to be a decision fight. I don't think anybody's really going to get rocked a lot, or that's my opinion, but Corey Anderson edges it out.
Gotcha. Timothy, who you taking?
I'm going to take Nemkov, man. I think, in my opinion, he's the better fighter. I mean, that's just how I feel. I feel like he does. I think it's a slight advantage to Nemkov, but I think he does most of what Corey Anderson does and does it a little bit better. So I agree with Chris. I think it's going to be a boring fight, to be honest. I mean, whatever you consider a boring fight, I think it's going to be edged out. It's going to go to the scorecards, and we're going to see what happens. But I've got Nemkov.
Gotcha. Alex, who are you picking?
I'm going Corey Anderson. I think his wrestling's better. And I think his striking is deadly when used. I think he'll get it done, and then we get to hear Corey Anderson spout like he's the best light heavyweight on the planet until Yuri beats Glover.
There you go. Already making a pick on that one. We're actually going to be split. I'm taking Corey Anderson as well. After seeing what he did to Ryan Bader and seeing Nemkov, I'm not going to say he doesn't have cardio, but Corey Anderson has really good cardio, especially light heavyweight. So I'm going to say that's going to be edged out. And I also agree with most here on the panel. It's not going to be the most entertaining fight. So we'll see.
I love playing devil's advocate on this. This is my second one today. So I love it.
There you go. A couple comments here. Okay. Albert, we'll get to your comment here in a second. All right. Because that's definitely a little side off base, but we'll definitely talk about that. All right. And then, of course, coming up this weekend out of Vegas, it's actually a weird one. I think there's only 8 fights on the card. Does anyone know exactly how many?
Go to Tapology.
Tapology
is going to have the better schedule. I was looking at that earlier. I don't know why it's like that.
It's weird, right? So I went to UFC.com. I went to UFC.com and I looked at their event page, and it has 8 fights. But you see on Google right here, it has a fuck ton of fights.
Yeah, I looked it up under Tapology, and it was a lot better.
Go to UFCstats.com.
UFC stats. Let me work on that.
Because I've got 8 fights too. What I was looking at.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
All right, UFC.com. If you want someone to be able to update your shit on time, all right, hit either me up or Jay Anderson, somebody, because your shit's way off. All right.
Here,
right,
I'll send the link.
You got it? Okay, cool. UFC stats, right?
Yeah.
All right,
Since,
here we go. This one?
Yep.
All right. All right, so we got oh Jesus with the names, but Alatengeli. I am so sorry if I fucked that up and I offended you, dude. I'm my bad. Against Kevin Kroom, Sam Hughes against Stella Nunes, Trey Ogden, and Jordan Levitt. That's a good one.
Why does he only have one name? Why doesn't he have a first and last name? What's
It depends
going
on where he's
there?
from. A lot of coaches will go with one name, so I'm
Really?
not,
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure about that. Why exactly? But Chris Barnett against Martin Boudet, Rafa Garcia against Jesse Ronson, Drakkar Close against Brandon Jenkins. That's a fight. Lena Landsberg back at it against Penny. How do you say? Is it Kianzad?
Kansas. Yep.
Kansas. Okay, thank you. Devin Clark against William Knight. Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos. How many more names you got, dude? Against Munir Lazez. Passive Vatini against TJ Laramie. Yeah. Mayra Bueno Silva against Wu Yanan. Miguel Baeza against Andrew Fiala, who I believe you just talked to him, didn't you, Alex?
Mm-hmm.
And then Caio Borralo. Jesus was the name, bro.
Shout out to my boy Caio.
There you go, Caio. There you go. And then Vicente Luque against Bilal Muhammad. We'll just pick the main event on this one. Vicente Luque, you would think he would have fought for the title by now with the kind of performances he has. And he fights anybody. But will a win over Bilal Muhammad get him a title shot? We'll see. But who are you picking here, Chris?
Bilal
Muhammad gets it. Okay.
Yep. I think he's gonna execute his type of game plan. He lost to Luque, I don't know how many years ago, but I mean he's gotten a lot better with executing his style. Sure. People don't like it, doesn't matter. He wins. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I think that's what's gonna happen. I don't think a win with both these guys, how the welterweight division is, though. I don't think a win, unfortunately, gets him a title shot because you still got Leon Edwards there,
right?
You got Shemaev, who's going to fight. I think those are probably the two guys.
Mm-hmm.
Either guy who wins probably has to fight one more time. But sure. I mean, let's say they go in there and they fight a Colby or they fight Shemaev, anything like that. Then I think or anything can happen. But I'm going Muhammad.
Gotcha, Timothy. Who you picking?
Yeah, I gotta go on the other end. I think Luque gets it done. I think Luque is one of the most underrated fighters in the UFC. I know there are some people who love him. They love that knockout power. Bilal, he is really great, and I think to Chris's point, Bilal plays his game really good. Sure. He understands what he needs to do when he gets in the octagon. But I think Vicente is going to hit him with some power, and then he's going to start working his game on the ground, some ground and pound and such like that. But I think it's probably going to come down to a decision, and I think it's unanimous for Luque.
Gotcha. Alex, who you picking, man?
Vicente Luque. Yeah, bro. He knocked down the first fight. I think he has the ability to knock out Bilal again. The thing about Bilal is, right, his pressure, he keeps going forward. So does Vicente Luque.
Right.
And Vicente Luque's ground game is 10 times better than Bilal. So if he goes to the ground, watch out for Vicente's BJJ. So I think Vicente is just the all-around better fighter, and Vicente will get that win.
There you go. I'm going Bilal Muhammad. I think he's going to employ a wrestling heavy, stay the hell out of the exchanges type of game plan. Now, they get to the ground. I'm with you. Luque has a hell of a ground game. But, like Timothy likes to play devil's advocate. Me too. I'm playing that one.
Hey, I'm going to go ahead and call it because it's my favorite submission. Luque by another Darce choke. Let's go.
Damn, you got specific. All right, dude. Cool. So plenty of action this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Bellator 277 on Friday. UFC Vegas 51 on Saturday. Bellator also they have like 5 cards in a row and like belts all over the place. 2 events in Hawaii back to back. They're putting foot on the gas for sure. Very quickly, because Albert's asking, any advice for the boy from you 4 goats? Appreciate you. He is he's inspiring to be an MMA reporter or podcaster. I'll go first. What you guys think of what you want to say on this one? Just do it. Like just do it. Get on a podcast or start a podcast with your buddies, dude. Whatever you want to do, but just do it. That's it. Just get it going. You never know who's gonna watch, and you need to work on your skills. And there's nothing like getting on and just getting reps. It's like it's like a sport. The more reps you get, the better you get at it. Practice one kick 10,000 times, you'll be a killer with that kick. All right. Who wants to go?
Yeah, no, I'll just piggyback off that. Just do it. Just do it. You just have to, if you want to write. If you want to talk. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people in the industry that don't have a journalism degree, that don't have a communications degree, and so it's not in this industry, it's not needed. So unfortunately, and I went to school for it and got a degree, but yeah, bro, just start doing it.
All right, whoever wants to go next, go for it.
Chris,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is just have fun with it. I mean, I've seen some of the stuff your son's done. He's having fun. He's making jokes. He's just, he's having fun with that's important. And you got to network. I mean, you got to know, if you're doing interviews, or what do you want to do? Do you want to write? Do you want to, cover media? Do you want to interview people? Find out the thing that you want to do. One thing I will share and stuff that I watched a lot of was John Lynch has a bunch of stuff on his YouTube channel of, what to use for this, what to do for that. What do I cover? Different things for everything. And he has a nice little channel on there. So I would definitely watch that and just continue to network and build connections. I mean, just like how, I watched, he did, Albert's son here. He did a thing with Dillashaw and Ian Gary over the weekend just because he was there. And just fun little skits like that and just have fun. That's the main thing.
There you go.
Yeah, I'd say for me, man, I mean, I think at the end of the day, so we can always talk about, learn your MMA knowledge. Always, get the Fight Pass, man. Watch fights every day, break it down, look at it, and understand what you're looking at. But at the end of the day, I would say be a good person. Be a good person within the community, especially with like MMA Twitter, which I would say is the biggest stepping stone to stuff like this. Alex is someone who's helped me immensely, and it's the reason why I'm here today, man. Just be a good person, understand that stuff, and just always be true to yourself. Just be who you are, man, and love the sport that we're here talking about right now, man. I think that's what's really important besides the analytical side, which is super important, but always be true to yourself, man.
Don't burn bridges because you don't know who's watching.
Exactly.
Another thing I'll share is don't let people get under your skin. There's so many people out there that are just jealous or nasty for no reason. They'll just find just the most ridiculous stuff. Like, some guy was hackling you about something, about a word you used the other day, wasn't he, Alex? It was like one word off. You made up a word, and someone was like, "That's not a real word." It's like, what does it matter? Like,
Alex is the nicest guy on Twitter, and he's gotten trolls for the past like 2 weeks, and I'm sitting there going like, "What the hell is going on?"
Alex literally does humanizing fighters. People are like, "Oh, you fucking blah blah blah," and I'm like, "No." He asked him his favorite movie. Can you get off his dick real quick? Like,
why do you got to ask so much boring questions to him? Awful question.
It's something crazy. That's when you just fucking quote tweet it and let people rip them.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's when you know you're doing good.
Exactly.
That's what I think when I see that. You got guys like you're doing the nicest thing in the world, and some dude girl wants to pop up out of nowhere and be like, "This is stupid. You're trying to treat them like human beings." Like, that's when you know you're doing great.
That made me laugh. And they're going like, "Why don't you ask him the same questions everyone else fucking asks, Alex? Like, what the fuck, bro? We want same old shit." Like, all right, dude. Like, whatever. But
why didn't you ask them how their fight camp went? Like, come on, bro.
I love that question because everyone always asking. You can see the fighter's face goes, "Really, motherfucker? Really? That how my fight camp went? It sucked. Okay, I was busting my ass anyway." But at the end of the day, be you, have thick skin, and have fun with it, and just do it. Just go, do it, get it started, get moving, and the be you part. Don't play a character because it's gonna get stale to everybody else and to you at some point, and you're gonna get tired of that shit, and you're gonna get to a point where no one's watching and no one's gonna care, and then you're gonna wonder what happened. So if you're yourself, that's the easy thing to do. Is be you. That's it. So keep it up. All right, fellas. I think that's gonna wrap it up.
Like Alex.
Yeah. Don't ask people about their lives. That's just terrible. All right, what they like. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. The first ever episode of Cageside Live. We're gonna figure out exactly how we're gonna work this as far as the scheduling goes. Whether it's gonna be this day or that day, or it's going to be a specific day or time. We don't know yet. We're going to figure it out as we go. We appreciate you guys being on the journey with us. Please hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell button. Follow us on Cageside Press, at Cageside Press on everything. Socials on here. Chris, actually, you can see Chris's right there. Social media,
That's
Twitter.
the game right there. That's some next level stuff.
There you go. Your ears elbow on Twitter for Timothy.
It's actually at Illuminati, but Yair's elbow is probably how you're gonna find me.
Yeah. If you type that in, you will find him. But Illuminati made me fucking laugh when I saw it too. I was like, I gotta ask him where the hell that came from. Anyway,
My last name.
Oh, there you go. That's right. Good point. Holy
There
shit,
you
that's
go.
pretty creative. I didn't think about that. And then Alex Behanon, of course, on Twitter. I'm at Eli32. Hell of a show, folks. All right. So for myself and the boys, CageSidePress.com. Hit it for everything. We work every single week, so make sure you hit us up. So myself and the boys, everybody else, I appreciate the hell out of you guys. Have a good night, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.